I remember during season 7, because when we spoke to you last time, you hadn't yet appeared on the show, and you did have a few episodes on there, didn't you? Brought in a couple of times, and obviously Prescott, your on-screen son, had a part to play.
Prescott. What kind of a name is that?
You didn't name him.
Now, son, I'm going to give you a name that's going to ensure you get beaten up in school.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. One of the bits that struck us was the relationship with Prescott, and I remember you on the phone to the nanny quite a lot because you were brought in to see to you, and Chloe was sort of locked up and stuff. Right. And one of the bits that we enjoyed a lot on the podcast was the concept of Prescott's Babu. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I knew that. I was babbling that day in the car. So
was that ad-libbed?
Yeah.
I'm sure it was. So Prescott's Babu. Oh yeah, right. Prescott's Babu. Right.
The question is, what is Prescott's Babu? Because we couldn't work out. Was it a blanket?
No, I think it's his a pacifier.
Dummy, if we call it.
Yeah,
in the
dummy.
UK.
It's his dummy.
We came up with various different options as to what the Babu could be on our podcast.
And you know that we shot like. I think that they had a hard time with this child, right, issue, because we shot a bunch of other stuff that never aired that had other kids.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. I mean, we shot a whole scene with me, not in Washington. I was in LA. So we shot it as LA. They shot it in an apartment which plainly showed that it was LA outside with palm trees and the like. And I was holding a really young child, like a baby. And I was holding the baby and talking to Chloe. And that day, and they had, whenever you shoot with a baby on set, they always bring twins.
So there's kind of one gets upset.
So you get your baby in a spare. Just in case one doesn't, and just in case one. So it's the weirdest thing. The mother shows up with these twins, and I was carrying these twins around for. I've got some photographs of them somewhere. That I should have brought.
Did they behave well?
They behaved really well until I showed up, and I started dropping them and things like that.
Maybe because you look like a giant baby.
I do look like a giant baby.
A bearded baby, but nonetheless, yeah.
Well, one of the questions we're going to ask: do you keep in touch with anyone on the show? Obviously, you got Nazim there. Do you?
Well, Nazneen's there, so yeah, I keep in. And every so often, there's some event, I might show up to it. I don't. It's not like I go to set every day. Any chance of me being on the show today?
Just an extra role.
Drive her to work and just sort of linger around that little bit too long.
So see you then. Just bye. I'll just go. What did you say? I thought, sorry. I thought you said you wanted me.
No.
I've gone to a couple of parties and I see everyone and it's all very lovely and everything. The problem was always compounded also because I was away a lot shooting that other show that I do in Canada.
Yeah.
So I can't complain too much.
We'll come on to that in a minute. But what I was going to say was you seem to miss playing Morris a little bit.
Well, I was really proud of Morris. I really, the thing about Morris is that I think he was conceived as one way, and for me that was sort of a bit one-dimensional, and they were really generous on the show in allowing me to add some layers to him. Because the point is that he was a guy who screwed up, who fucked up, and but he was kind of arrogant and he had this sort of odd sense of humor, and I just wanted to do that. But I've seen that kind of stock character on television, on American television before, and I wanted to do that, but on top of that, give him some nobility, give him some reason to live. And it's a hard thing to do when a character's written as the guy who gives up his secrets, who's a bit of a screw up. To give him that nobility, I think I may have touched on this the last time we spoke. So, and it's not an easy thing to do, and I was hoping that I'd kind of somewhat achieved that. So I was kind of proud of Morris in that he was kind of multi-layered. So yeah, I do kind of miss him.
Yeah, because it seemed to us that you don't see a lot of comedy on 24.
You don't.
And there were some great lines in there at times that came from Morris, and I think certainly in the UK. It was a really popular aspect because it was kind of a British humour in a way that had been brought over to the US.
Right.
Do you agree with that? Do you think it was?
Yeah, it was, and they allowed me to they allowed me to do stuff. They allowed me to add stuff, and which is one of the great things about working on 24. It's such a big show, but they actually allow you some room creatively to bring as much as you want to the character. And you know, I've worked on shows that have far lesser scope, where they're adamant about you hitting the word and the line as they've written it, which is, I think, always a bit of a mistake, because these scripts get written fast and furiously, and I think it's sometimes incumbent on the actor to bring as much to it as possible, because you've not workshopped the script. It's not like you've gone, okay, let's rehearse it for a day or two and find the guy. So you have to arrive with your sort of all your toys, and if they allow you to use them, I think they get more from the actor and from the character,
Sure.
which is what they would do in 24.
So you first appeared in season 5, and then obviously you had a much bigger part in season 6.
Yeah.
But in season 5, we didn't know that Morris was an alcoholic, did we?
We didn't.
So
No.
how did you kind of bolt that part onto your character in season?
Well,
6?
this is what the other thing about 24, which is fantastic, is that, and a real challenge for the actors, and that is that the guys who write the show, who most of them are producers on the show, they sit in this room and they come up with these ideas, and you don't know them, and so you've been playing the character one way, and then you get the next script and they go, oh yeah, by the way, he's an alcoholic now, right? So and the fact that the structure of the show is a one day means that you have to find a way to work that into your past performance. You know, it's not like you can just show up completely differently as a different guy. It's 3 minutes later. So it keeps you on your toes. You don't know how it's gonna. You don't know how your day is gonna pan out. It takes place over a whole year, so anything can happen. And in this case, they just decided that he was going to be an alcoholic. They didn't tell me that at the beginning, and I said, right, alcoholic, yeah, right. And then you just wait for the next thing to come along. Oh, he's also gay. Okay, yeah, right, he's gay. Yeah. Oh no,
I can work with that.
I can work with that. He wears women's clothes every so often. Yeah,
So I guess that's one of the challenges that you face with 24 as opposed to other shows. Would you say that, or I mean, Little Mosque on the Prairie, which is obviously something that you've done a lot of. Your character is fairly set in stone, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I thought the character was set in stone. Little Mosque on the Prairie, the show that I do in Canada, that was extraordinarily a popular idea, particularly when it came out. The character I thought was set in stone, but over the several seasons, because we've had different writers every time, you arrive at the beginning of a new season and you go, what's happened to the world that we created? It's actually kind of a tough, particularly because it's supposed to be comedic. I mean, comedy is far more aggressive on your system than drama.
Really?
Yeah, in drama, at least I found myself getting much more upset at things in comedy than I ever have performing drama. I think that you have a fear of looking really stupid or something, because if this is not funny, I'm going to look stupid, right? Whereas if you're actually written as a guy that's kind of stupid, you can make him make sense.
I get you.
So the character that I play in Little Mosque on the Prairie, Yasser Hamoudi, he was set in stone in season 1. He went completely off the rails in season 2. We tried to get him back on the rails in season 3. Didn't really succeed. Season 4, it's a process of having different writers every season. And the other thing I've learned too in the last little while is that as an actor who's on a regular role on shows, you have to somehow connect with the writers, because they're the ones inventing and pushing your world forward. So if you don't give them impetus to do stuff and to do it the way you think it should be done, or request a way it could be done, then sometimes you'll just arrive and find scripts and just get completely lost.
Yeah.